There's a man in our town, he is a man of great renown. He never comes out till the sun goes down, Paddy Doyle the poacher. Well, the local squire is going mad, a peaceful life he's never had. He can only blame one lad, Paddy Doyle the poacher. For snaring rabbits, gaffing salmon, stealing chickens, he's your man. Shooting deer and pheasants too, there's no better in Ireland. Well, a poacher's life is lots of fun, the girls they love him, everyone. He lives on his wits and his old shotgun, Paddy Doyle the poacher. Well, the squire's age is 95 and nobody knows how he stays alive. He gets all his exercise chasing Doyle the poacher. For snaring rabbits, gaffing salmon, stealing chickens, he's your man. Shooting deer and pheasants too, there's no better in Ireland. Well, he seeks him here and he seeks him there, the squire seeks him everywhere. He's fly as a fox, fast as a hare, Paddy Doyle the poacher.
Evening everyone, welcome back to the channel. So a couple of people have asked me for an update on Brin. If you watch my previous video, excuse me, I've got a cold, so if I sound a bit croaky. So if you watch my previous video, well, I say previous, about a month ago, I put a video up and was telling everyone about the injury he had. If you haven't seen that, I'll do a quick recap. So we were out lamping and I'd already been to one farm, and I decided instead of going home, I was lamping with a mate that night on one of his permissions, and instead of going home I thought I'd pop to one of my farms and have a little spin round there. And it was a really good night, so I knew there'd be a few rabbits out there. And yeah, the first field, it's sheep grazing, and the first field, first rabbit, I slipped him, ran him on it, and he caught it. As he brought it back, I saw the blood on his leg, on this one on the back, and anyway, it was quite a deep cut, and took him to the vet the next day, and it turns out he'd cut through one of his flexor tendons. So there was a couple of options. The vet said we could either go for the gold star operation, as they called it, where they'd surgically put the tendon back together, which, to be fair to them, they were, they're a good vet. They were quite honest with me. They said, it's a waste of time for what I do with the dog. It would have been a waste of time because, the tendon then, even though it's put back together and you'd allowed, a similar amount of time to heal, it would always be a weak point. And there would be the issue that it could go again and then, the dog would be lame. The second option, which I went for, was clean and stitch the wound, leave the tendon. So at the time I'd done that video, he'd just had that done. As you saw, his leg was in all bandaged up. Now it's not. So 10 days after that, he had his stitches out. And the wound had really healed well. Now you can't really even tell where he'd done it. There's not really much of a scar. And he was really walking on it fine. So yeah, he was signed off anyway by the vet. So now I'm at the stage where he's got a lot of rest, really. I've only been taking him out on short, sort of 10-minute walks. And he's walking on it fine. Because I haven't had the tendon put back, one of his inside toes has dropped. So for anyone who doesn't know or understand what that means, when you get a dropped toe, for all intents and purposes, that toe is useless then. It just hangs slightly lower than his other toes. So when he stands up, you notice the toe pokes proud of his other ones. Shouldn't really be an issue. It's an inside toe anyway, as long as his nails are kept nice and neat and short so the nail doesn't catch on anything. That shouldn't really be an issue for him. So the stage I'm at with him now is I can slowly start week by week, just upping his walk time a little bit. So, you know, take him out for 20 minutes and then half an hour and then, you know, 40 minutes, and just slowly build him up. Obviously, he's restricted to lead walks only, which, to be honest, he hasn't been as bad as he could have been. But, you know, from when you think from his point of view, he's gone from 2-3 days and nights out a week ferreting and lamping to doing absolutely zero. You know, the boredom is starting to show a little bit. But it's one of those things, you know, you outwardly, you'll look at that and you'll think, oh, it's healed lovely and he's walking on it fine. And, you know, some people might have the temptation to take him out and run them, but, you know, it's the inside that you can't see that's not healed. So it's really just a case of patience. You know, I don't film a lot of my lamping, just because it's hard to film. You know, I'm actually planning on, when he's back up and running, and now I've got the head cam, it will give me more, you know, give me that option to lamp and film at the same time when I'm on my own. So yeah, I am missing getting out lamping, because obviously now he's my only dog. But more so where I'm missing him, and I found this on, if you look back to Boxing Day and watch my video, I was out ferreting, and you really realise how much you miss a dog when you're ferreting. Not so much for the, like catch-wise, but for the marking. So there was a few warrens that I looked at, and I said this in the video, you know, I'd never recommend ferreting without a dog, because you end up wasting your day. A warren could look really well used, you know, debris free, kicked out, runs going to and from it, fresh drop-ins. You know, you net it up, it could be, you know, anything from 10 to 50 nets upwards. You could spend a lot of time netting up and not bolt anything at all. Whereas when you've got a dog with you, you'll only ever ferret the warrens that the dog marks. You know, the dog's nose is rarely ever wrong. If you've got a reliable marking dog, then it's just going to save you so much time. And, you know, they really are worth their weight in gold. And obviously I haven't been ferreting without a dog for years. So when I went out the other day, you realise how much you miss them. And there was a couple of rabbits also that slipped the purse nets. I was on my own, I couldn't get to them quick enough, and they caught on a bit of barbed wire or whatever, and they kick out of the nets. And you realise that when you have a dog with you, how many extra rabbits you catch, because the dog will easily mop them up. So yeah, it's ferreting without a dog is a bit of a chore, but you know, it can be done. I wouldn't recommend it personally. But yeah, I was really encouraged as well by some of the comments left on my video. I had a few lads actually say they've had dogs that have had similar or even the same injury as mine has, and you know, they've given them plenty of rest, and you know, the following season they've come right again, which is what I'm planning on doing. He won't be running at all this season. He's gonna strict lead walks, probably for a few months, to be honest. Maybe I'm being overcautious, but I'm looking at sort of May sort of time before he even gets run free again. And then I'm hoping by September he should be good to go again. And then we'll see how he runs on it. You know, he might go lame when he runs. If you give him a heavy night, he might be fine. But the more rest I give him, the better. Yeah, so another thing I really want to say is, obviously the last video is called the dangers of lurcher work. And I was trying to point out to everyone, you know, this is really the reality of it. If you're new to the channel and you don't know, I also had a whippet that I lost back in August. Broke her neck while out ferreting. You know, and although these, you know, it's sad when it happens, but you need to understand that this is one of the harsher sides to it. You know, every time you release that dog on the lamp or you take it out ferreting, when your dog's doing those sorts of speeds, and there's obstacles like fence posts, or even dogs that run out on the road and get knocked over, or if you're ferreting with two dogs, you know, they can have collision, or like he done, hit a bit of flint or a bit of glass, or get caught in barbed wire. There's all these hazards. So when you work a dog, it's always a matter of when, not if, it's going to happen. And maybe I came across a bit harsh when I said, I've heard people say, oh, they've got away scot-free and their dog's never had an injury. You know, I usually reply to them people, you're not working your dog. You know, you're what I call a once in a blue mooner. You know, you might take your dog out, you know, once every month or every couple of months. You know, to me, that's just a pet dog that you know, let it chase a few rabbits. When I'm talking a working dog, I'm saying 2 days, couple of nights a week or whatever. You know, as soon as August, September rolls round, you're out. You know, from sort of August to March time, every week, week in, week out with that dog. You know, if you want a working dog, you've got to face the fact that you start them at a year, and depending on how hard you work them, you know, and if they have any bad injuries, you know, you might have to retire them early. But you know, you've probably got up until, with a running dog, 9, maybe 10 before they start to sort of lose it a little bit. So you know, and during that time, there's going to be times when the dog's laid up, or you know, whatever, for whatever reason you can't work it. So yeah, you've only got limited time with a dog, so you really want to get the most out of your dog as you can throughout its working years, throughout its prime. But yeah, I thought I'd give you that little update anyway, and just say he's doing well, so you will be seeing him back again next season. Luckily enough, I've got some lads who come out and help me with my ferreting, who have working running dogs. So you know, it's not such a loss. You know, I can get lads to come with me, but you know, there's nothing like working your own dog. You know, you work hard to train them, stock break them. You know, it takes a lot of time to get a dog how you want it, and then so it is a little bit disheartening. But what I would say for anyone who's new and up and coming to it is, you know, just expect these things. They're going to happen if you're working your dog. You know, it's not unlucky. It's just, yeah, it's just all part and parcel of it. Just try not to get too disheartened by it. It's going to happen. But yeah, he's doing really well, and getting a bit bored. But as you can see, he's quite a chilled out dog. But yeah, it's quite hard leaving him behind, ferreting. And I miss, like, the other night we had a real good windy, drizzly night here, and you know, normally on a night like that, I'll be out. You know, me and the dog will be out on the lamp, and you know, we're confined to the walls at the minute. So, but what I did notice as well is, I don't know if any of you other guys do this, but each season I keep a tally of the rabbits I catch, and I'll do an overall tally what we get out ferreting and lamping, and then I'll just do a dog tally what the dog will catch. So it's interesting because I've done that for a few years now, and you realise how many your dogs catch. So if the dog will catch a bolter out ferreting, I'll add that to their tally as well as the lamping ones. And pretty much the dogs catch, I think last season they caught more than half of what we caught overall that season. So if you take the dogs out of the equation, you're missing half the rabbits, whether that's obviously, you know, lamping, we catch a lot lamping, but also when you're out ferreting, the ones that slip the nets, or, you know, a hole hop in, and the dog will catch them. So really, you know, a dog really is an important tool when you're out. But tool's a bit of a harsh word, but they're an important part of your team. Because, you know, they're so valuable for their nose and for their ability to catch. But yeah, we'll carry on as we're going, and you know, get him get him back up to scratch, get that wound properly healed and everything, and yeah, hopefully be back with a vengeance next season. You'll be seeing him back on the channel, and yeah, so I really hope you guys have all had a great Christmas and have got out with your own dogs and ferrets, or with the gun, or whatever you enjoy doing. You know, cheers for supporting the channel through the couple of years it's been going. Over the last week, actually, the subscribers have blown up. So to all the people who are new and have subscribed to the channel, I want to thank you as well. You know, there's always going to be plenty more videos to come. I've actually got an interesting one coming up at the end of the month. I've been invited to a friend's estate to shoot on their beaters day, so I'll be filming that on the head camera. I'm going to apologise in advance for my shooting. I don't get out with my shotguns as much as I used to, so you're probably going to see a lot of birds being saluted and not falling to my gun, but hey ho, I'll give it a swing anyway. But yeah, the next video is going to be in January, so this is the last video before the new year. So before me and Brin sign off, I want to wish you all a really good new year. Hope you have a good New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and yeah, just cheers again for all the support, and stay with us because there's plenty more to come.